31秒だ。付け加えて言うなら、すでに呼吸がしづらくなってきているぞ。私も大事にしてください。そういうわけでシャーロットは1分も経たないうちにこの屋敷で働くことを了承してくれた。
Alright, so if you know, you know. Over here at the Otaku Room, we love ourselves those anime that have the longest titles that they can have. And ladies and gentlemen, I have one for you today. Should you watch, I'm giving the Disgraced Noble Lady I Rescued a Crash Course in Naughtiness. Well, the short answer, this one, I have to tell you top of the video, I think the answer is yes. But do you watch it every single week? I think that's the real question here. I think, and a lot of you're going to hear I think is because that's just my opinion, that's all it is. But the reality is this show is good enough to garner your attention and to garner your time. Now, is it good enough to say, hey, I'll watch this instead of Eminence in Shadow? I'll watch this instead of Saint's Magic Power is Omnipotent. I'll watch this instead of Ancient Magus Bride or Shield Hero or Undead Unluck or the variety of different anime that are launching this season, right? If you have enough time to watch The Return of Jujutsu Kaisen or this, well, I think the answer is pretty clear, right? But, if you do have the time and let's say on Tuesdays, right? Let's say on Tuesdays you have enough time during the day, or today's Wednesday. Let's say on Wednesdays you have just enough time, okay, on Wednesday, forget what day it was, to have enough time to watch this. You don't have anything else on your agenda or watch list. There's no other anime or shows that you have that launched today. And the ones that launched today on my personal hit list is this show, 16-Bit Sensation, and Eminence in Shadow. Those are the three anime. When it comes down to it, I'm going to make the most time if I only have time to watch one for Eminence in Shadow. But let's say you have enough time. I think this one really does make the list. So what we have here is a disgraced noble, Charlotte, okay? And in this disgraced noble Charlotte, she was basically, and the main character described it as such, is she was a noble lady who was accepted into a family by marriage or, marriage promise, fiance, whatever. And they treated her like an object. They treated her like honestly, like a maid. And she was more of a maid, like even probably lower class than a maid than anything. And for some reason or else, I assume simply to just divorce her or not have to marry this girl, the prince made up something and put some kind of false charges on her to where she had to, find a way out. She ended up in the forest of the Dark Lord, or in our case, the Demon Lord in Alan Crawford. And apparently he's like the Demon Lord. And how he got there, I'm not too sure. He told her a story during this of how he joined an adventurer party and eventually some stuff was pinned on him and he probably gained some more power through that. He also told us about how he spent some time at the Magic Academy. So at some point, he was just a kid, with really strong magical abilities. How he became the Demon Lord, I'm sure we'll find out over time. But he saves her. And, during this, he shows us his power, that he's extremely powerful. And now he basically wants to show her, like, the pleasure of vices in the world, right? He started off with, in this episode, sweets. Eventually, he wants to, show her the world, essentially, which is really, really, it's a cute premise. And if we see the preview for the next episode, we see that a kitty girl's coming to the mix. So my theory is we're going to see him, show off Charlotte to a lot of different things that she just has no idea of. But then they're going to introduce other cute characters in the mix, starting with, Cat Girl. I'm sure there'll be another Cat Girl or two, or Beast Girl or some other. There's going to be a bunch of different girls that end up coming through as she ends up being his main, kind of thing. So it's like a love story-ish, kind of like a romance, but the romance is like kind of put underneath the fantasy and Demon Lord and slice of life and comedy stuff that they're giving. So I do think, though, that there is enough here to say, yeah, I think you should watch it. Again, should you watch it in comparison to all the other anime? It just depends if you have the time. Really, I think that the perfect spot for this anime is twofold. I think this one should get a dub, okay? So I think that's the first stop is I think this episode or this show, I think should in fact get a dub. So I think that's the first stop is it should get a dub. The second stop is I think this show is probably better served binge watching it at the end of the season. So I think we let all the episodes stack up and then we watch it all at once in a Saturday night, maybe a Saturday, Sunday, you know, a nice little weekend off, whatever. Between seasons, I think we catch up at it all at once. And that's not a diss to this show. I just think in comparison to all the other shows that you maybe have to make time for, catching up at the end of a long work week, catching up at the end of a long school week, catching up at the end of, you know, maybe you're unemployed, you're too young, you just play a lot of video games or whatever. Like whatever it is, whatever takes up your majority of time, when you have enough to watch shows, I just don't think that this should be on top versus a bunch of other stuff. You know, I think this is one that we all watch together at the end. Again, unless each day you have a little bit of time to just, you know, kind of push towards or kind of like carve out for anime. I think, again, on Wednesdays, if that's you, I think this is enough here. So that's my thought on I'm giving the disgraced noble lady I rescued a crash course in naughtiness. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate your time. Thank you guys so much for being here. I won't see you next week for this show, but I'll see you for probably a lot of other anime. Check out my other videos, probably coming on screen now. But watching a lot of fall anime and watching, I think, the best of the best all season long. So hope to see you there. See you in the next one. Peace.